The Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Naledi Pandor, together with her Mozambican counterpart, will chair the Bi-National Commission in Pretoria today. The aim of the meeting is to focus on the bilateral relations between the two countries and the military presence in Mozambique since the deployment of the South African National Defence Force soldiers. Our reporter Pelane Phakgadi is in Pretoria watching that story. Pelane, the significance of this meeting, how important is it? And not forgetting to place emphasis on the deployment of the SANDF in Mozambique on the back of these terrorist attacks that the country suffered some time ago.
Yes, I can tell you that, it is important looking at that particular deployment in Mozambique earlier on last year. But this is the third session of the South Africa and Mozambique Bi-National Commission. And I think, you would also be very kind to remember that the two countries signed the agreement establishing the Bi-National Commission in December of 2011 and inaugurated back in October 2015 here in South Africa. So the second session of the BNC took place, if I remember correctly, in around August 2017 in Mozambique at that particular time. So there are four main committees within this BNC, and that is namely politics and diplomacy, because that is the first one. Then the second one coming through to be defense and security, economic finance and infrastructure committee, and the social committee. So I think the importance of it is to come through to say to date over 70 sectoral agreements have been signed between the two countries, and I'm sure that the two presidents would argue that that demonstrates the strength and the depth of bilateral cooperations between Mozambique and South Africa. But of course, there are main objectives coming through for this main meeting here today, and I honestly do understand that they want to have a look at many things, but mainly to evaluate progress of implementation of commitments made during the second session of the BNC back in the year 2017, and come through again to assess and evaluate the progress of all outstanding decisions and commitments, as well as joint projects. And I'm sure even they would want to agree on new areas of cooperation and further enhance bilateral cooperation within the framework of this very bi-national commission. But Koli, before I hand back to you, I think the key element and what comes out as a very, very much important to me and perhaps to quite a number of diplomats is that they need to deepen understanding on regional, multilateral and global issues of mutual concern. Maybe how to have the Ukraine and Russia disputes not significantly affect the two countries, and looking at oil prices among many other issues on how they can try to combat the situation economically here in the country. We do know that South Africa is still deep in an economic crisis, and the emergency economic reconstruction and recovery plan already mentioned by the President in October 2020, while still a long way forward until it is completely realized and some sort of stability within the country can come through and jobs can begin to be created, and as well as Mozambique, so that there can be those bilateral relations, and at the end have a SADC region that is economically viable and be able to foster new relations in the rest of Africa. Toli?
Pelane Phakgadi, thank you very much for that update. We are going to keep tabs on the outcomes of this bilateral meeting.